Hi guys, welcome back to RhomanysRealm. I'm Romany. Today I want to talk about indexing. Indexing has been a little bit problematic for me, and I want to show you what I've been doing with it to try and stop it being a problem. I just have to close that window down though, because it's really distracting seeing yourself doing something you were doing 5 minutes ago. Okay, that's minimised. Now I'm in real time. Oh. Where am I up to with my bullet journal? I didn't do anything over the weekend for YouTube because I'm already doing a video a day. I can't do one at weekends as well, I'm sorry. I've got too many things going on this month. Plus I wanted to spend some time going through the book. I didn't spend any time going through the book. I found Catfish. It's like car crash TV and I can't stop watching it. I'm sorry. I have no excuse. Okay. I have no excuse. Oh, anyway. Update on the app. I'm not using the app as much as I thought I would be. However, I do find it incredibly satisfying to go into here and tick off my little reflection thing. I won't go into it now because I'm due one any minute now. Just to see all those little crosses all the way through the month. I like it. I haven't needed to take any notes while I'm out, but I really do enjoy the freedom of not having to think, oh, well, I'm going out with the dogs, so I need to have this, I need to have this. There's none of it. As long as I've got my phone, I've got everything I need. And the only decision I have is, do I want to take my sketchbook with me as well? So I love the freedom of not having to choose. There's quite a few times where I've popped out and instead of having to take my planner or my journal or my diary or whatever, I've just taken this with me. So if I think of something or I make notes on here, and then when I get home I transfer them into my journal. It's working great. I don't always leave my journal at home. It's just sometimes I'm out and I think, oh, I'll pop and get a coffee. You know, I didn't expect to be out, so I didn't bring my journal, but it's nice to have this to make notes. So the index part is... Indexes are weird. I don't use indexes. When you're dyslexic, the last thing you want is to be looking through lists of words, that most of which you don't recognise. So I think that might be why indexes don't work for me, even though it's my handwriting and I'm pretty good at recognising my handwriting. I'm an extremely visual person and I recognise things from the way I wrote them on the page, how they look on the page, the position on the page where they were. And if it's all just one big list, I tend to not see the wood for the trees, basically. It all becomes just a list of words and I don't really understand what I'm looking for. And because of that, I don't tend to use the index because, frankly, if I'm going to look for a particular word in a list and spend all of that time looking at it, it's quicker to flip through my journal. I know roughly where it is, I know where on the page it is, so if I'm flicking through, I can find it faster. However, someone suggested something, I cannot remember who it was. I think it was Lauren, but I apologise if it wasn't. I know it began with an L, but I honestly don't remember, but I think it was Lauren. Suggested using the index as, mundane stuff on the left and collections on the right. Well, that wouldn't work for me because a lot of my stuff is not collections particularly. I'm not really using collections in a broad sense. I certainly don't have as many collections as most people, but I do have things that are ongoing projects. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. What if I categorise my index? So here's what I've done. Now bear in mind that I've only done this over the weekend, so I haven't really had a chance to test it out yet. But I think this may help me with what I'm struggling with. So here I've got my Mundane Index, which is just collections that don't fit anywhere, like my Urban Sketchers Stoke stuff. I've got media recommendations. things to post, video ideas, and article notes, sketches, that kind of thing. So I've just put in, I've actually changed this. I stuck a piece of Tomo River paper over the top, which means I can see where the dots are, so I can rewrite it. Instead of trying to white out all that, I just stuck a piece of paper over it. So my future index, I'll come back to that. Then I've got June. That's my monthly page 5 to 6. I do not need to know every single page I've got a daily log on. It doesn't help because it doesn't tell me what's on that page. It's quicker to go, oh, between 5 and 21, that is where all my June pages are. So if I'm looking for something that's around the middle of June, it should be around about here, right? As it happens, that is the middle of that week. I only did 1 week in June, so that is Wednesday. It's exactly the right page. I didn't even try to do that. So I think that's better. Now I may add some kind of signifier to the page edges or perhaps to the tops, just so that I can go June, July, August, September, you know, and just pick out what I want. But purely for indexing. A lot of people have suggested putting washi tape on the edge of pages, or, you know, page flags. Obviously I use my page flags. My current page flags are on my today's daily log, my monthly log, and my current astrology log. I don't really use my bookmarks. I tend to only use my bookmarks actually when I'm actually writing in my journal. So if I want to flip between, say, this page and this page, I will put my 2 bookmarks like that, and I literally use the bookmarks to just flip backwards and forwards while I'm working in the journal. I don't use them to bookmark places because honestly I can't remember which one's which and what they're for. I just can't work like that. I know that my yellow one is in my important stuff, which is today. I know that my purple one is my monthly stuff, and I know that my green one is my witchy stuff. So, and my yellow is here, is my important one, which is my videos. I don't need anything more than that. I don't need a bookmark. So that's how I'm using my bookmarks. I found a use for them finally, is when I'm flipping backwards and forwards between 2 pages, I just use my bookmarks for that. So my index here doesn't have any daily logs or anything. It's only got the June page 5 to 6 and the July page 21 to 22. And because I usually have a vague idea of when I created a collection, I'm putting that collection under the correct month. So when I'm, you know, all my collections for July will go in here. Any extras I create, obviously I've already got one for Stoke that's in June. Then I'll put August and any collections I create after the August page, because it's easier. Then it breaks it up into pages. I don't need to know if it's that special. It will be somewhere else. Okay, so I have 2 key things that I do. One is my Patreon class videos, all that kind of stuff, and the other is my witchy stuff. Now my witchy stuff tends to have more pages but fewer things, and then my Patreon tends to be lists. So this is the smaller section because it's just lists. I've got June videos, July videos, August videos, and the private session bookings. My witchy stuff, obviously I'll have astrology, I might have spellcraft, I might have herbs, I might have some book notes that I'm working on, whatever. So this section will probably be a little bit bigger in terms of, you know, not so many subjects, but lots of pages for each subject, if that makes sense. And then at the top here, because I'm trying to follow Ryder's suggestion of having a passion project every month, I've decided to break this into my 3 months for my passion projects. Now I figure by the time I fill up these pages, either I'll be about halfway through the book, so I can just create a second index, or I'll have finished the book. I don't anticipate needing any more than this, because all I'm doing for these boxes is putting in page numbers. So here, for instance, this is my July passion project, One Book July. So it's actually split into two sections. Well, it's not really split into two sections, but some of them are the bullet journal. And I decided, rather than trying to somehow indicate which ones were bullet journal, I would just split it out. It would be easier. So bullet journal One Book July stuff, which is to do with the organisation of One Book July, the videos I'm doing, any messages between me and the girls, you know, all that kind of stuff, feedback we've got for next year, and so on. That's going under One Book July. The actual bullet journal method stuff, which has not been updated, that's going in here. So my first page on the bullet journal method, page 17 to 18, I can go straight to there and find it. And because I know what passion project I worked on in July, that should be easy to find. In August, I plan to finish my studio. God damn it. Capital letters, exclamation mark, star, curly whirly star, ... exclamation mark, 111. What the fuck, barbecue, you know? I've got to finish my goddamn studio. Now I have something else I'm going to be working on in August that will simply require me to have an art desk set up, which I'm going to do in the kitchen. So I'm going to set that up in the kitchen first. And then while I'm working on that, in between times, I can work on this room. So hopefully that should work well. And I've already got some notes for that happening, because obviously I've already done my motivation board for my studio. So instead of putting my motivation board for my studio over here, it's under studio for my passion project for August. Aha! So if I go to page 25, 26, that's my pages with my pictures on that you've seen. Right? And then September's project, which I'm not really working on at the moment, but things keep popping into my head that I think, oh, I'd quite like to do that. Oh, I'd quite like to do that. Oh, I'd quite like to do that. But it's so far away that it's not worth setting up a collection for specifically yet. And when it is worth setting up a collection, it'll be too many pages like this. So I'm just making notes. And at the moment, you know, September, I'm going to be working on my podcast. Page 35, I've got a note about my podcast. Simple as that. My astrology, these are all the pages I've got astrology on currently. I haven't done all of my witchy indexing. I'm going to do that. So I'm hoping that that works. The Patreon stuff, like I say, there's, rather than having a few topics with lots of pages, these are lots of topics with one page each. So my June videos are on page 5. I wrote them in there. My July videos are on page 28. And the ideas for those videos so there's my videos. And the notes that I wrote about those videos as ideas, I've put brackets ideas page 41. Because I was brainstorming ideas. So, page 41, I've got some ideas for what we were going to do, because we had a class discussion about what we wanted to cover. So that's hopefully going to work. Now, the other thing I'm coupling this with is a tracking system. You notice all of these videos have a tracking square. What I'm doing is I put the square next to the item ready. Once I've set up everything I need to do for the class, so I've prepped it, I've set up the post, and we're ready to go when it happens, I put a line through it to show that it's started. And once we've actually done that video, and it's all saved and everything, I cross it the other way. That way I know that I'm ready to download it, and all I've got to do is download them all and upload them back up to Vimeo. So that is a super simple system, and it's working really well so far. What I'll do is when they're all completely finished, and you know the Vimeo version is finalised and processed and all the thumbnails and descriptions are done and I post it back in the group as a downloadable video, I will colour these in. So if these are coloured in, they're done. That's it. I'm also doing the same with pages. So any pages that have stuff to do on, I put a square. Once I've started working on those pages, I deliberately left these for you so you could see what I'm doing. So this is my YouTube videos this side. So this is my video ideas pages. Hang on. This is my video ideas pages. So this is in progress. This one, we've done one of them and I've started on the second one today. So that's in progress. When that page is finished, I will put a full dot through it so that I know that everything on that page has been addressed. That way, when I'm doing my reflections, I can go through and I can go, okay, these are all finished. These are all finished. These are all, oh, that's halfway done. Oh, it's Urban Sketches. That's why it's an ongoing one. Oh, Astrology for July. That's an ongoing one. This one doesn't have a signifier. Oh, it's the bullet journal notes. It doesn't need one. And so on. So July's tasks are started. I suppose July is in progress. So I might as well half fill that because even though this page doesn't really need one, when I'm flicking through, it's a lot easier to see the left page than it is the right page. So, yeah. Same for this. When I do things to post, if I finish this page, I'll colour that one in. And if I finish this page first, I'll colour this one in. Simple. I'm hoping that that will help me with being able to find index stuff. Because at the moment, like I say, it was just a big long list of stuff and numbers and I wasn't really being able to find anything. But I have a pretty good memory for when I created stuff. And I have, I mean, for me it's logical. I know that I started this book in June. And one of the first things I would have put in is my Urban Sketches dates. Therefore, my Urban Sketches collection will be in June. The weather was nice in July, but it was raining in June. Therefore, my outdoor sketches are going to be starting in July. Okay, so that's how I'm doing it at the moment. I won't rewrite these. So if I do sketches in July, I won't rewrite these necessarily in August and so on. I will probably just leave an extra line and just keep writing the numbers in here. Maybe. I don't know. I might start a new page and just all my sketches for August or something. It might make more sense. The big thing at the moment is that I don't know how long this book is going to last me. It could last me 2 months. It could last me 6 months. It could still be going in February. Who knows? I'm already on page 50 and I'm only 2 weeks in. So 2 weeks, 50, there's 400 pages. So 16 weeks. Is that right? Help me. I'm an arts major. I don't do maths. I'm 2 weeks in and I've used 50 pages. That's 25 pages a week, right? So in 400, there's 16 weeks. Yes. Okay. Because 16 times 25 is 400. Is that right? Oh, I hope so. Anyway. It will either last me 16 weeks, which is about 4 months, 3.5, 4 months, which is the end of September, which is what I'm guesstimating, 3 months or thereabouts. Because as I go through, there's going to be more and more things that just end up going on these lists, as opposed to starting new collections. Maybe. I really don't know. I really don't know how long it's going to last me. I have no idea. Oh, future index. Okay, so I've written future index there. Future logging is a big issue for me because my life is run by Google Calendar. My phone is always with me, and if something needs to go in forward planning that I need to know when and where it's happening, it goes in my calendar. The only reason it wouldn't go in my calendar is if my phone is not charged. And my phone is always charged. As soon as it gets to about 20%, I plug it in. So I use Google Calendar. And somebody asked me on Instagram, how on earth do you manage to use Google Calendar? Because I showed my monthly schedule and said, this is why I use Google Calendar. And at least 3 people said, how the hell do you find anything? This is why I don't use digital calendars. The thing is, you can change it to a 3-day view or a 1-day view. So if I'm only working on stuff for today, I can put it in 1-day view. Usually in the working week, I'm working on, I need to know what's happening today, and I'm working on stuff for tomorrow and the day after. I don't work too far ahead of myself because then I forget how much I've done and how much I haven't done. So normally on a Monday, I will be working on or finishing off Tuesday's stuff, and I will be writing notes or starting Wednesday's stuff. Okay, so the 3-day calendar works really well for me because I can see all my appointments, all my notifications are set up. No matter where I go in my calendar, if I just tap that, it takes me right back to where I am now. And I can see at a glance that I don't have anything else happening until Wednesday afternoon. I love that. Well, I do. I have a YouTube video there, but that's not really something that's happening. That's a pre-scheduled event. And as soon as I've done it, I'll delete it because it's just a reminder. So I don't really use future logging, and the future logging page was bugging me because I just didn't have anything in it. So what I'm doing is using this as a daily log for the future. I know that sounds weird, but instead of it just being future events, which is the way you normally think of future log, the problem for me was the wording. I'm very particular about wording. For me, a daily log is what you've done throughout the day. A weekly log is what you've done throughout the week. A monthly log is what you've done throughout the month. A future log is what you've done in the future. Huh? You see what I mean? My brain can't compute that. I don't understand. It's hard enough for me to understand that the future log is at the front of the book, because time-wise, that's going backwards to me. It doesn't make sense. So instead I changed it to future index. So this is stuff that I've done that is in my book already, and this is stuff that will be in my book but not yet. I know that may sound like the same thing, but for me it's not the same thing. So the idea is that that when I set up August, I will go through this. But I don't have anything in here that's not starting. Nothing in here is starting this month. It's not like I've got anything that's like, oh, it's happening at the end of July. Anything that's happening in July is in my monthly log for July, one way or another. And my monthly page is rapidly filling up, and I'm only a third of the way through the month. So I think what I'm going to do, rather than creating a second monthly page, is just use some... I've got lots of Kaye books that I can just take a page out of the back and kind of stick it onto the top of here, so I've got flips. I think I'm going to try that because I don't think I'd need any more than 3 pages for a month if I'm 1/3 of the way through the month now. So I think 3 pages would be okay. So I've got some, just a tape runner thing. And I think what I'll do is just tear a page out the Kaye because they're not as wide, fit it onto here, and then just tag it at the top. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. And then I can lift this up. Or I might just use a paper clip, I don't know. But that's what I'm planning to do with that, because I don't want these on another page. I don't want another page from my monthly. But this one is August onwards, and what I've done to try and save some space, and because some things will be on repetitive or more than 1 month, it kind of gives me an option to pull it forward or push it back. So obviously I've got tasks, events. I had a note there. I had a note there to create a podcast collection for August. Well, I'm not working on my podcast this month. I'm working on my podcast in September. But since I put this in, I don't need to do that because this is my podcast log. So I crossed that off. Don't need it. Sorting out the studio, that's going to be an August one. Halloween Chronicles is in October. Christmas Chronicles is in December. And of course that means that I'm always aware that that's coming up. So I could put Christmas Chronicles in November and start the prep work. I can put Halloween Chronicles in September and start the prep work, and so on. And I've also got things like MOT due in August. So it's already booked, it's already done, it's a forward appointment, it's in my calendar, but it's on the 1st of the month, so I need to remember when I'm setting up my future log for August, which will be done the end of July. I usually do it I will probably do it the 30th, 31st of July. I will look at this and go, oh, the MOT's due. Yes, that I need to do that first thing. Because the first thing I do on the 1st of August is take the car in for its MOT. Otherwise I'll forget. Of course I will. So that's why that's in there. So I can put notes and things in here and it becomes like this. But these are things that are in the book and these are things that will go in the book later on. I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping this works. But certainly so far I'm using the page. And that's always a good thing. I don't think I've got anything else particularly to update you on. Oh, yes, I could show you this. This is just a really quick little thing I did earlier. I believe I've seen somebody else do this, and I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Leslie. I know she's got a Gilio. I know she does bullet journaling in a Gilio type Filofax thingy. It's a tan colour. Leslie, I think it's Leslie Plans on Instagram. Yes, it is. Leslie Plans on Instagram. I've seen her do this before, but she did it differently. I've set this up this week just for my my schedule, just so that I have something quick to refer to. You know, if I don't have my phone right next to me or my phone's over there charging or whatever, I've just got something I can go, oh, what time is that later? Oh, it's at such and such a time. Or, you know, when I'm doing my YouTube on Wednesday, I have to remember that I've got an appointment straight after and I've only got an hour's gap. So I can't overrun on Wednesday. I need to make sure that I only do 2 hours max. So when I'm planning my days, I can just have a quick look on here and go, oh, yeah, I need to remember that. So when I log my Wednesday YouTube with my notes, then I'll put on no more than 2 hours set alarm. And so on. Just reminders, simple reminders. And this is just time blocking. I've just put Monday through Sunday on the left with the date and 10 through midnight. I never have anything before 10 o'clock because I can't guarantee I'll be awake before 10 o'clock. Even if my alarm goes off at 8, I can't guarantee that I'll be up at 10. So I only start booking stuff from 10. If anything happens before 10, I'm not going to be there. Is that simple. It would have to be really important for me to actually be there. Certainly wouldn't be anything I'd booked. So yeah, I just did it like every 3 boxes. This is military time for those who don't, well, we call it Zulu time. It's 24 o'clock. I don't know why people have trouble with it, but 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 0. So 0 is midnight. And I've literally just blocked off. So this one here, Thursday, 1600 to 1800, which is 4 till 6. I've got a When Frogs Sing class. That's it. That's all the information I need because I already know, either in my notes or in my head, I know what I'm doing. So I don't need to worry about all the information. That's just an appointment, and it saves me having to use this for appointments. I really don't want to use this for appointments. I want to use it for cataloguing. the monthly log for me is a catalogue. It's not an appointments calendar. And to be honest, I couldn't fit all that into here and catalogue my week as well. So, somehow I've missed out colouring in that one. I don't know how I did that because I haven't missed any. This is my reflections log. Just in case I miss a reflection on the bullet journal, because if you don't do it within 11 hours of the alarm or before the next alarm, you miss the opportunity to tick it off. And I keep doing them but not remembering to tick them off. So just for my own peace of mind, if I miss any on here, it's not the end of the world. I know I've done it here. And I'm also really short-term forgetful. So I'm like, did I go through my bullet journal earlier? And I just have to check this page. And if it says no, then I haven't done it. And I haven't done it. So I better go and do it. I hope that was useful for some of you. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.